So there are scenes of continuing unrest and violence in Hong Kong, with protesters forcing their way into the main government building. Reports say hundreds have streamed inside and that riot police have moved back, having earlier fired tear gas and pepper spray. Thousands of people have been expressing their dissatisfaction at the growing influence of Beijing in Hong Kong, which was handed back to China by the UK in 1997. Well, this is the latest in a series of protests against a controversial bill that would allow extraditions to mainland China. I've been getting the latest from Kerry Allen, who's a China media analyst at BBC Monitoring.
Very dramatic scenes in the last hour or so. Lots of people, protesters in Hong Kong to the controversial extradition bill. This is like basically the idea that if somebody is arrested in Hong Kong, they can be brought over to mainland China. So this has been going on now for this is entering its fourth week, and what we've seen very, very recently is now, as it's approaching midnight in China, you've got people, protesters, literally smashing the government buildings, the windows of the government buildings, and standing inside. They've actually managed to get inside the Legislative Council. So very, very dramatic scenes in Hong Kong. But you won't see much of this in mainland China. The government would never show this whatsoever. So there's a lot of quiet in mainland China today about what's been going on in Hong Kong.
And how have the police been responding to all of this in Hong Kong?
Well, they've more or less taken a back seat and said that they don't want to get involved. And what's been really interesting is that within mainland China over the weekend, there were some protests again that took place. But there were people there were protesters who were saying that they need to support the police. And there's these pictures of literally hundreds of thousands of people out on the street, but these people in the foreground. So if you're in mainland China today, you're getting the impression that people are out protesting, but they're protesting against brutality to the police, against violence to the police. And there's this message that's coming out in Chinese media that basically the police want peaceful protests. They don't want to be involved in that, and that those who are protesting and basically vandalizing government buildings are hooligans who've been brainwashed by the US government. So China's more or less its police, the Hong Kong police, are taking a back seat, very much in line with the government media in mainland China, to give the impression that that this is hooliganism, that it's not, that it's basically it's bad behaviour, that is not sanctioned by the Hong Kong government.
Is there any kind of risk here that the Chinese authorities will get increasingly involved in Hong Kong then?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, one of the messages that mainland China has made ever since these protests begun was that, that Hong Kong is an area that belongs to China, and particularly today, with it being the anniversary of Hong Kong being handed over from the UK to China 22 years ago, that message has never been stronger. So today in mainland China, there's a real emphasis on the Communist Party's strength. I mean, also today, it's the 98th anniversary of the Communist Party being founded. So things like this, that Hong Kong is an area that became reclaimed by China, and the Communist Party being able to survive for 98 years. I mean, this is the message that's coming out in the mainland, that the Communist Party is just getting stronger and stronger. And frankly, anything that happens in Hong Kong, yes, can and will be suppressed by the communist government.
Meanwhile, the protesters are out there in their thousands. They don't look like they're about to back down either.
No, not at all. No, we've seen figures in the last 2 weeks of as many as 2 million people in Hong Kong. That's more than a quarter of the population of the region. So people feel very passionate about this bill, and they've been calling for the chief executive, Carrie Lam, who's the leader of the region, to step down. I mean, this is why the protests have become so almost violent today. The fact that people are actually, they're going into the government buildings. They want to make a stand, because she said that she's going to suspend the bill, but they've not seen action. They've not seen any indication that the bill is going to be changed or it's going to be revoked. And they can't help but wonder if the reason that she's just kind of, said, we're just going to take a step back, is the idea that protesters might go off the street and think, okay, maybe she'll change it. But again, weeks have passed and nothing's happened. So more and more protesters are getting very unsettled about Hong Kong's government not doing anything, and they want action, and that's why they're back.
That's Kerry Allen there from BBC Monitoring.